Good morning. Well, it's almost afternoon here, but I just wanted to give my little 2 cents real quick, as always. Isaac, my husband, has been preaching on the family. And this past Sunday, he taught on marriage. And if you guys can, I know a lot of people, everybody's not subscribed to the Promise, what do you call it? The Promise YouTube page, but it's a really, really, really good message. Isaac and I have been married this year, come November, 15 years this year, which is a lifetime. I remember when I first got married, I thought that 5 years was a lifetime. So to be at 15 years is a beautiful thing. Now, I will say, in the midst of being married, you choose to marry someone. And if you don't live together before you get married, which most of us don't, I didn't live with Isaac before we got married. We move in together, and it's two completely different worlds coming together, and we have to come to this understanding of one another. And there's so many things and so many ways that we get in the flesh instead of looking at it from a spiritual aspect. And it's such a beautiful thing when both of y'all can be on one accord with the spiritual aspect of what God is doing in a marriage, and that's you guys becoming one, us becoming one. And so there's two things that Isaac used to always say to me. One thing that stood out to me was we're on the same team. He used to always say to me, Faith, we're on the same team. Sometimes you may think that I do things to get on your nerves or do things to just, I don't know, irritate you, but it's not my intent. Some things our husbands do or some things we do as women, and we think that it's intentional. We have to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially your husband or your wife, and not think that there's ill intent towards you all the time. I know me being extremely sensitive. I'm super sensitive, you guys. I just deal with my sensitivity a lot different than a lot of people. Mine, I want to fight or I tap out. I just get quiet. So it was such a beautiful thing when you used to always say, we're on the same team. It's not my intent to hurt you, Faith. It's not my intent. And you think that when you're as sensitive as I have been, you think that it's intentional, but it's not. That was beautiful to me that Isaac used to always say, we're on the same team. Another thing that he said to me, it was a couple of years ago, probably after 10 years of marriage, and it was the most huge thing to me. He said, Faith, wait for me to catch up. He said, because sometimes I'm gonna have to wait for you to catch up. I think a lot of times we always expect each other to be on the same accord all the time, but sometimes God gives you things. He'll give Isaac things before he gives it to me, and I'll be like, I'm not doing that. That's a bunch of foolishness. And then other times he'll give me things before he gives it to Isaac, and he's probably looking at me sideways and twisted. But we have to wait for one another. And that's where the patience and the long suffering, the fruit of the Spirit, and that's why we always want to strive to be the fruit of the Spirit, because it's so beautiful when you guys can wait for one another and you see the growth, and we make room for one another to grow. Anyway, I just wanted to share that, and it's just such a good message, because in the beginning stages of our marriage, honestly, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be married to this man for the rest of my life. Oh, one more nugget for me. My mom told me, she said, Faith, you have the rest of your life to understand Isaac and him understand you. You got the rest of your life to grow. And I think when we look at it as a building block and that we can grow so much and we know that we have time to do that, it's positive and it's encouraging rather than, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Somebody gonna say the same thing about you. So know that you have the rest of your life when you are married to just grow with one another. Anyway, God bless y'all. Just a little 2 cents today.